Night of the Living podcast is always ad-free for patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
Thrill me.
Oh, boy.
What a demanding way to answer a phone.
It's like, come on, buddy. Hello? Takes less time.
We're back. We're Night of the Living podcast, where we discuss horror, sci-fi, fantasy movies. I'm Freddy. That's Amy.
Hi.
And Andy is here via the magic of the internet.
Hi.
And Elsa's barking in the other room, probably because like Prime is delivering something to someone, most likely.
Yeah, most likely.
Or a kid's riding a bike, or there's a truck. She can't handle any of those things.
I like to say ghosts. That's what they're barking at.
It could be ghosts right now.
It's true.
That feels good to know.
That would be the spooky one.
They're delivering ghosts.
Yeah. They're
Well,
delivering.
why'd you order ghosts?
Because I was out of ghosts.
Oh, okay. There was a good deal.
So we're continuing our theme, Night of the
Night of the Night of Living podcast.
Yeah, and these are movies with Night of the in the beginning of the title. And last week we did
Night of the Comet.
Night of the Comet, a classic. And we are doing another classic today. We're going to get into that a little later, Night of the Creeps.
Mm-hmm. AKA Nightmare.
Yeah, which is weird. And you know what, though? I couldn't find any record of that.
No,
being the title.
Just in the
title card.
Title card on our Apple TV.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you would search Night of the Creeps. What she's saying is when the big display title card they give you with the information about the movie says Nightmare across it.
Did you see that, Andy?
Oh, I didn't notice it. What a bland title.
Yeah.
Very.
Night of the Creeps is way better.
Doesn't even really apply to this movie. I mean, I guess it's nightmarish, but it doesn't convey nightmare.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
So
we'll be talking about that.
Oh, excuse me.
So sorry about the dog stuff. Yeah! Did you think muting you would be enough?
I just didn't want to really blow
because
anyone's
we're in the
eardrums
same
out.
room.
Yeah.
Okay. Just didn't know if you knew.
I like how you yell shut up at them like that would work.
It did though. She shut up.
Yeah. She did.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah, patreon.com/NOTLP. Over there we post extra content, like Topicana, where we talk about topics. Freddie was in charge.
Yeah. I took us through the
of our
whiplash.
most recent Topicana, which is again posted at our Patreon. Yeah, it got dark.
It started dark, but then it gets fun in the middle. And then it
a little
ends
bit gross.
A little mixed.
And then it ends a
gross.
little dark.
Yeah, trigger warning. It's not it's
disgusting.
It's a dark episode.
And it's dark. But I mean in a fun way?
Yeah. I mean, I had a good time.
I mean, as dark as we can get.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually pretty dark. So yeah, that's over at Patreon.
Yeah. Also there, every Friday night, Joe and I release a new episode of Zoned Out where we revisit the Twilight Zone.
And that is ad-free at our Patreon or with ads on our regular feed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's enjoying that. Like, I know you come in, we try to make sure people know it's a special presentation that's separate from this show.
Yes.
And we just kind of put it in this feed we figured if you liked horror movies, you wouldn't mind hearing about the Twilight Zone. So
yeah,
I hope I'm right about that.
Let us know. You can let him know, Freddy at NOTLP.com. That's FREDDY.
Yeah.
Let him know. Yeah.
Do we have a mailing address like Boulder, Colorado?
Boulder, Colorado. Do you remember the zip code from that ad?
No, do you?
No, do you?
No, I don't.
That'd be insane if you
Just wondering
did.
if you did.
1, 2, 3,
Oh, was
4,
it
5.
Boulder? No, it was Pueblo, Colorado.
Pueblo, Colorado, yeah.
Pueblo, Colorado.
I got my Colorado cities mixed up to send your postcards.
Yeah. Colorado. What a state.
It's a total square.
It's got mountains and people
So
with money.
most people that we know were watching the Super Bowl last night, and we did watch a little bit of it.
Once we felt comfortable that the Eagles were winning.
Yes. Once we felt that the Chiefs couldn't come back, then Andy was his health would allow it. Because Andy gets riled up, especially about the Chiefs. He hates them Chiefs. So
This is a good halftime show.
we watched the halftime show and then we watched the fourth quarter. Halftime show was great. I thought it was really good. I loved seeing Samuel L. Jackson.
It was hypnotic too.
Yeah.
The best part of the halftime show is seeing all the reactions of these uptight people
Yeah.
online.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. Like people were bitching the next day today, and I'm like,
Yeah, if you're bitching about Kendrick Lamar's halftime show on the Super Bowl, we know who you voted for. You don't have to tell us.
It was really good. I mean, I guess it's not for everyone. I'm sure he's kind of an avant-garde artist, really, and for him to be on a mainstream thing like the Super Bowl halftime show, to me, is really cool. But I get why some people are like a little confounded by his style. It's so original,
Right.
That's what makes it so great. Well, some people got some culture who didn't want it.
Also, did you guys listen to the supposedly controversial Star Spangled Banner performance?
I still have not
haven't heard of it.
listened to it yet, but I do love John Baptiste.
No, it was
too.
totally fine. Like Amy was like reading reactions last night from it, and I was prepared for like this Fergie type performance.
Yeah,
But it was totally not that. It was totally fine.
I love everything he does. There was only one thing that he did I didn't like, and it was like a commercial. It was like a song he wrote for Coke or something.
Hey, he needs to get his bag too.
Yeah, but I love him. He's great. National treasure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also,
definitely.
he's a total like kind of like hippy dippy. He's just got a lightness to him in his personality. I'm talking about John Baptiste.
Yeah, he's a lovely man.
It's so nice.
But what was very nice is instead of watching the Super Bowl, we watched the Puppy Bowl.
Which is so
Oh,
great.
I wish I was watching it right now.
It is so sweet. If you have Max, it is streaming on there if you didn't get a chance to watch it. But just to watch these little puppies run around and play with toys and drink water and sometimes poop and pee, it'll bring your blood pressure all the way down.
Yeah.
You might die because your blood pressure is too low.
Yeah, and I wasn't rooting against anybody, which is nice to
Rooting
see.
for everyone.
Yes.
I wanted every one of those little puppies to succeed,
Yeah, I want both teams to win.
like a little Enrique.
Yeah. He's a menace.
I really like Sarge.
There was a dog with a little faux hawk. It was adorable.
So it's the cutest thing.
Oh my
The
God.
Puppy Bowl is really one of the best things that has happened.
Big
to
recommend
media.
from me.
Yeah.
All right.
But congratulations to all our Eagles fans, even though we rooted for you by default.
Yes, you did get our love by
And
default.
I hope your city's okay.
Hope
I
your
think people are
fans-
still. You think people are still stuck up on poles right now?
Their jails are full.
Yeah.
I like to think most people are still asleep.
Do they grease the poles just in case?
Yeah, don't they?
I mean, it seems like something you might want to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's kind of increased the amount of times that people try to do it because now the challenge is more.
Oh
But yeah,
my
I'm pretty sure
God.
they grease them. Yeah.
Jesus, Philly.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be a challenge.
They're hardcore.
I never got that feeling like, yeah, our team won. Let's go break some shit.
We have a friend of a friend who's doing something kind of cool with clothing, and I just this is not an ad or anything, but it's called Printful Artifact, and it's printfulartifact.com, like Printful Artifact, 2 words, but smushed together as 1 word for the website. You dig it. It's just like old vintage artwork printed on like high fashion, like mini dresses and skirts and stuff. It's pretty neat. But a friend of Kelley, if you know Kelley's old band, we know this artist who's doing this through his bass player Wade, who connected us. But it's pretty neat. We said we'd give her a shout out on the show, so check that out. Turn out lights, it's the main attraction.
Hello, welcome back. So, just a little bit of an FYI, a little fourth wall breaking. The banter portion you just heard of the show was recorded on Monday night. This portion where we're talking now and the rest of the show is recorded on a Tuesday night. What?
Do you want to tell them why?
Because I got interrupted by work on Monday and I couldn't come back to the show, and that really sucks. But it's okay.
Sure.
To pay the bills.
It's a bummer.
That's the excuse we'll go with. It was a bathroom emergency. She's been on the toilet
I
for
had
24
to
hours.
shit. No, I'd tell you if it was a bathroom emergency. No, this was just a regular run of the mill fucking dumb work shit.
There's a bathroom emergency in our main attraction tonight. The worst kind.
Oh, yeah.
The worst kind of bathroom emergency I can imagine almost.
Yeah.
Almost. I can have a pretty twisted imagination, though.
So anyway, we're going to talk about Night of the Creeps now.
Yeah.
Now that we've dealt with our housekeeping. Yeah.
We had mentioned the whole nightmare thing, right? That they had the mismatched titles. Oh, that was interesting. I had never heard anybody call it by that name. But this is Fred Decker, who did the Monster Squad. And if you're a fan of Tales from the Crypt, the HBO series, he did a great episode of that with Terry Hatcher and Jose Ferrer called The Thing from the Grave. I don't know if you remember that one where Terry Hatcher's like a high fashion model doing like sexy photo shoots, and Miguel Ferrer's her asshole boyfriend.
I don't remember that one.
And because she falls for the photographer, and it's one of those zombies that comes back from the grave for revenge against their murderer, love triangle stories. But I love it because the look when we get to the under the house mother's cottage character. Sorry about that. That should not be bleeping. But
it blooped.
When we get to the house mother's cottage, like the whole puppet that they use in that scene is very similar to the one from the Tales from the Crypt episode. Also, he regrettably made RoboCop 3, which wasn't so great.
Oh, you heard that one, RoboCop 3.
But we'll forgive him because he also did House. Remember House with William Catt? And he did House 2.
I need to go back and rewatch The House.
They're fun. And technically there are like 4 of them just because they kept using the name on different products and then changing the name to a different title. So it's confusing as shit. And none of them are connected story-wise.
Right.
But yeah. So he
was also the first person to poop into a toilet tank.
He invented the upper decker.
And that's why it's called
the upper Fred Decker.
Fred Upper Decker.
But he did a lot of fun stuff. He also did that,
I hardly know her.
Terrible the Predator movie that came out. Did you watch that one, Andy?
Which
one?
The one just called
which terrible Predator movie are you talking about?
The one that's just called The Predator.
No, I don't know that one.
It's Olivia Munn was in it.
Her.
It's kind of where some of that controversy came out, where she got harassed by somebody involved with the movie. Anywho, that movie's no good. But yeah, so Night of the Creeps that has a lot of cred, a lot of horror cred going in.
It also stars Jason Lively, who's the half brother of Blake Lively, who's in the news.
Yeah.
Which one's Jason Lively?
He's our main.
The main character.
Yeah.
Remember, he was Rusty Griswold.
Our main doofus. Of the two doofus.
In which
boys.
movie, Freddy?
In European Vacation, the second one.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one very much because I'm more familiar with National Lampoon's Vacation and Christmas Vacation.
He has a weird career, and he appeared recently at Horror Hound Weekend too, right? So
and his sister Robin has been there.
Oh yeah, and Robin Lively, and but he only really has not a lot of credits across any aspect of the industry. Only I think like a dozen acting credits, and then but he did direct.
Just judging by this movie, I can understand why because I find him very bland.
Oh, really? I think he's funny. But I guess I can see why you'd think he's bland.
To each their own.
I think the reason I think he's funny is because he got in early in my imagination.
Do you think it's... I think the love interest is so bland that everybody else looks spicy by... comparison.
It was the lead characters, who were supposed to hitch our wagon to and follow and root for. They had... Like Ava said, she was bland and he was bland, so it's bland squared.
It is. They are pretty white bread. But that's the irony of this guy, right? Of Jason Lively. He directed the Learn to Hip Hop videos.
The Learn to Hip Hop videos.
Yeah, he did the first 2 Learn to Hip Hop videos that you could get on home video.
I bet they're great.
Yeah, so that's could be fun to watch. Remember those?
Is that where that viral video of that? It's like, hi, I'm Diane or Dana, and she's in like this blue jumpsuit.
Oh,
and
I'm not sure, man. I
Is
haven't
that
watched
her?
them.
Okay.
I get it mixed up with, remember the Bye 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 where they taught you the guy who did the Backstreet
NSYNC.
Boys, right? Or
Uh-huh.
NSYNC.
NSYNC is bye.
And he did the series of home videos that taught you all their dances.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like that, I think.
Okay.
Or it could be the learn to hip hop. It could be like learn to rap because it's just learn to hip hop.
I bet you it's dancing.
It probably is dancing. Yes. So it's funny, him and the co-star that he has in this who plays his buddy with the crutches, they were both on 2 different episodes of 21 Jump Street. Small world.
Fascinating.
But the bland actress who Andy was just talking about, Jill Whitlow, who's Cynthia, she was in Porky's, and then she also has a lot of credit because she was in Weird Science, and remember Mask with Cher?
Oh,
Yeah, and she was in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares too.
She's just way too soft-spoken. As she's supposed to be a protagonist, we're supposed to be rooting her on, and she's just like,
Yeah. Does she remind you of Sarah Silverman at all? Either of you?
the face maybe
like
a little.
physically,
Well,
or
the way she speaks and her appearance, just in general.
Barely.
Yeah,
I
she doesn't.
barely see what you.
If you took Sarah Silverman's edge away entirely, I think you'd have Jill Whitlow. Is what would be left.
Okay.
You know,
All soft edges.
just soft and kind of inoffensive.
It really bugged me though in this movie.
Yeah.
Bugs.
Well, Andy, this is your first time seeing this, which surprised the hell out of me.
to my memory at least, I probably may have seen it on cable like 40 years ago, but I don't remember this movie.
Yeah. So
And it was like for my first experience, it was fine.
yeah,
I
that's
had
what
fun
I was
with it.
wondering. Yeah, I was about to say, just coming in cold. Did you watch a trailer or anything?
Yeah,
And had you known it just through like the zeitgeist or anything? Or
yeah, just from like people talking about it.
yeah.
It's like a second tier horror, like, what's the word I want here? Cultural.
Like the following, you
It's
would say is
second
a
tier.
second tier.
It's a second tier.
What's a primary tier cult movie?
Return of the Living Dead.
Okay. See, I would put these in the same category.
Really?
Yeah, I would. I would say
Well,
Return of the Living Dead's a better movie, but
Well, yeah.
I mean, is that personal experience or in terms of how the like horror community
the
views
horror
it?
both I happen to be in line with the Gen X horror community, where I think most of us who grew up on these movies really love Night of the Creeps and really love Return of the Living Dead, and those are cult classics to us, and they're not really in my imagination, I don't see them in 2 different tiers.
That's interesting because I see a lot of more love for Return of the Living Dead than this.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because in terms of like just judging by that Horror Hound, how many products there are out there for Return of the Living Dead,
Yeah.
and that you rarely ever, if
Yes.
ever, see anything for Night of the Creeps.
You can judge by merch.
But can you? What the question would be like, is it just that nobody's made
just
the right kind of
merch
merch?
of
It
Horror Hound.
Yeah.
Yes, Return of the Living Dead is more marketable, but
Yeah.
I just never hear really people talking about this movie as much.
I think this movie
Yeah,
belongs
definitely, Andy.
in the auspices of such things as maybe Eating Raoul, or they're
Yeah.
like second tier cult classics.
See, I always think
Yeah.
of the theatrical released, horror movies from that era. Most of them because, we were getting so much good stuff. I feel like it was just a glut of cult classics were just vomited out upon us between 84 and 86, I think. And this is one of them to me.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying about like Return of the Living Dead is almost a mainstream movie though. You know what I mean? Like it's not just a cult following. It had a lot of, I think, mainstream success. And this didn't. This was a flop.
Yeah.
So this movie's success is completely different. It's all home video and cable, where people know this movie from. So it's got its own twisted history there. It's different.
Yeah. This movie has tiny little alien butts.
Oh my God, these guys. You know,
Did you say butts?
Yeah, you didn't see the aliens
Oh, in the
with their tiny
beginning.
little alien
Yeah, in the
butts?
beginning. Yeah, that's kind of what turned me off in the beginning of the movie. Those aliens were ugly.
yeah, they were
They were like tiny little kind of squat
babies.
baby looking
Yeah.
Well,
monsters.
it's not like it was like the look of them. They were just so flesh colored and
Yeah.
And they weren't wearing any
ug-
clothes.
in the like I'm used to in terms of 80s aliens like Mac and Me or ET, like something more palatable, like
Yeah.
cuter.
Those guys who were in those suits. But by the way, those are little people in flesh-colored rubber suits, which look awful, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I just could not imagine having to squeeze into that thing, especially that headpiece, the animatronic piece on it.
Right.
It just looked like hell. But those guys are vets of. They were in Star Wars and Blade Runner and all the classic sci-fi. You know how it was in the '80s, and if you were a little person and you had a good agent, it's like you. It was like you were in 100 movies. Is what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because we wanted before CGI, you know, you're like, I want characters this stature. So there was all these opportunities out there back then, which were these guys, they ended up having these outstanding careers with like 100 credits.
But I feel like we're kind of nitpicking because these aliens were in the movie for literally like a minute.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But that being said, the design was not great.
I think it sets the tone because you realize that it's a silly movie because these are silly
the focus
looking.
on their little butts running.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you're like signaling this is going to be a giggle time.
Not to mention, this movie is like a pastiche of everything
Right.
that was done, like from the 50s and 60s horror movies, just all stitched together. It kind of starts off like The Blob. Well, once you get the cold open out of the way, the cold open's pretty great.
Which is just the experiment falling to Earth.
Yeah, and the Lover's Lane or whatever it was, Sorority Row, 1969. That's right. And the meteor comes down, and you got the two
59.
59.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wrote it
Let
down.
me change my date on my notebook here in case anyone ever goes through my old notes. They'll
69,
know.
it wouldn't have been black and white.
Oh yeah, sure. 59, Sorority Row, 59. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And it's very like the Americana convertible on the side of the road. It's the Hook story, really.
Yep.
Set up, right?
There's a
Yeah, but it combined with like creature feature
Yeah.
alien thing.
It's
So
like if
I
you-
like the
yeah.
mix. I like the mixing of genres in this movie.
Me too, because it's like you're right. It's like if you took the Blob where they're out and they first see the meteor and add the Hook legend to it, and everything in this movie that comes down the line is just like that sort of stuff, just kind of stitched together. Because Fred Dekker is a big nerd. In the opening credit sequence is even like famous Monsters of Filmland font in colors.
Yeah, the fonts are
Yeah.
great.
I think that's fitting that he was the Monster Squad guy too, because this is like just a slightly more grown up in tone than the Monster Squad.
Yeah,
effect.
you can tell his influences. Like he definitely grew up on movies from like the 50s and 60s, and it's kind of like how we're seeing movie makers now showing their influences because they grew up on movies from the 90s and 80s, and they're making their movies now.
Yeah, and a lot of them, they're just setting them in the 90s too.
Yeah.
Like just like he was doing. And you know, he wanted to do the whole movie in black and white. Which
No,
would have
it-
been strange
That would have been weird.
when they got to the 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, the axe murderer kills her and her with her boyfriend.
He had wandered off to look for the whatever fell to
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah.
He
So
gets the
he
slug.
gets the slug to the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she's being butchered by
Yes.
this crazy escape lunatic with an
Mhm.
axe. And her ex-boyfriend's the cop that comes along and finds the crime scene. And then you flash forward to him as now a very put upon and grumpy police detective.
He's one of them.
Tommy
Tom.
Atz.
Tommy Atz.
I love him.
Love him even though he's a Steelers fan.
Yeah. He was on Rockford Files a lot. And in
Yeah.
one of the Rockford Files TV movies too. He's a winner in my book. That Halloween 3,
All of his horror cred, whatever.
right?
He was on the Rockford Files,
Yeah.
y'all.
Rockford Files, Creep Show, got everything, and a
Mm-hmm.
frequent guest at horror conventions.
Was he in The Fog?
He was in The Fog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? He's in all the good stuff.
So we go from 1959 to 1986, and it's Pledge Week on Sorority Row.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to mention Corman University.
Oh, everybody has a horror person's name. So our main character is Chris Romero. He's in love with Cynthia Cronenberg.
Yeah, and the sorority row in the opening was they were right by the Corman University where the radio said the serial killer was coming. And I thought that was nice because that is kind of like the beginning of a lot of these schlockier movies was Corman. But God, he got pretty much every contemporary horror person in there somewhere.
Oh my God, yeah. I can't think of anybody that wasn't there.
I couldn't think of a King.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
No, there wasn't any, but I think it was just simply movie
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally I would be kind of roll my eyes at this, but it fit the tone of the movie.
Yeah. Especially considering like that, you know, they're branding it like the famous Monsters magazine. It kind of feels like reading a horror magazine, how you're going from like movie to movie. I love it. I love this opening with him answering his phone. Thrill me once once we get to that part with them breaking into the morgue. But I put the cart before the horse.
How, I wonder, this had to have been a real prank at one time. So our dudes, JC and Chris, they are going to join a frat so Chris can impress Cynthia Cronenberg. And the frat's like, hey, we'll let you join if you steal a dead body and put it in front of this particular frat house or whatever house they wanted it put in front of.
That seems like a prank that's... I know that they were basically setting them up because they weren't ever intending to... let them rush, but still, that seems like
it's intense.
Even for a mean prank, this is a lot.
Yeah,
but these are 80s bullies, Andy, and they are the cruelest.
Their leader, the Bradster, I think, right?
Brad.
Do you know who that was? That actor? That was Bubba from Mama's Family. the good-looking son.
Was?
Yeah. You remember him?
You mean that super bleached blonde guy?
Yeah. I thought he was great in this. He was really funny, but Bubba's so different. Like I had no idea it was him until later on when I was reading about the movie.
That's funny.
Yeah. So he was like, man, if you don't know what Mama's Family was, because some of you are younger, it was like a huge hit sitcom when we were kids. I think there was like 3 or 4 seasons even of it. And Bubba was all over the TV, and he was the chief bully of the frat.
The chief bully.
Yeah.
Most frats actually have that as a title. There's a chief bully.
Chief bully, you gotta have one.
So that's how Tom Atkins gets involved.
Yeah.
Because they do end up inadvertently letting a body loose.
Well, it's the boyfriend from 1959 who's been in suspended animation ever since because he has a brain slug in him.
So how did they... Okay. Here's my first question this movie put to me.
Yeah.
How did we end up with this guy in suspended animation in the bowels of the university?
They skipped that part.
They skipped that part. How did he get from 1959 to in suspended animation?
Well, I didn't think about that too much. I mean, I think like scientists knew that there was a threat and they needed to contain it back then.
I guess.
I like the idea that they arrived at the meteor around the same time that the scientists arrived too. It wasn't that long after.
It just would have been nice for there to have been a little bit of an explanation.
But aren't we spoiled by that now? Like modern movies give us too much exposition.
Yeah, I don't need an explanation for this because it's about brain slugs.
Yeah,
all right,
from space. So I'm not gonna pick up the science of it and the reasoning behind everything.
Well, we find out that the brain slugs animate the bodies.
Yeah.
So our suspended animation dude, now that he's been sprung from his prison by our two doofuses.
It's like, I'm glad you said doofus because this kind of infuriated me.
Yeah.
It was, I kept waiting for them to get their comeuppance for releasing this upon the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so irresponsible how they handled it. They just went in, started pressing buttons.
Didn't you like that one of the buttons was just a giant red button?
Yeah.
What did it say?
But
Release or something?
So it was like Amy's feeling about Mimic and
Where nobody
what's her
thought about
face?
Mira Sorvino?
Mira Sorvino.
Mira Sorvino,
She's
yeah.
the only character
Like-
that has no consequences for the shit she fucking
Yeah.
unleashed.
Yes. So I was just waiting for, at least for them to have something happen to them, and thankfully one of them did have
Oh,
something.
but that made me sad.
It did make me sad a little bit, but he kind of deserved it. Because he was the one that went in and pressed all the buttons.
He was just a kid, though, Andy. Let's be real.
Yeah,
still.
still.
There needs to be.
There should be consequences, and there were. His brain was eaten by a slug.
But still, like, what? Like you're clearly this guy has the guy in the suspended animation is there for a reason, and clearly a lot of effort and money and time went into putting him there.
Yeah.
And that's the body they decided to steal.
I know they just needed to go a little further down the hallway to get to the morgue. but
Regular
no.
dead body.
No.
Poor David Paymer was just trying to work that night.
And since they let loose our zombie passes more. I guess there's multiple slugs in there, or no?
I think it reproduced.
It reproduced
Well,
inside of
Yeah,
it.
that's how it works in your
yeah.
brain. They eat
Then
your
it's-
brain.
Yeah.
They spit themselves back out into another person's mouth
To breed.
to breed. So that's what they did to David Paymer. They killed him.
They lay their eggs in your brain and they gestate there until your head explodes and more
And
worm
then-
slugs come out.
So not only do we have walking around one zombie from 1959, now we've got medical student
Yeah.
David Paymer, who now is
Yeah. And the poor janitor, who was a hilarious and adorable character, who loved that once they arrest there are two doofuses, and Tom Atkins is questioning them about
thrill me.
that the screaming like banshees thing that he said they were running away screaming like banshees.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying it and he was so sweet, but you know what? Worm still got him.
Worm still got him. Turned him into a zombie.
All these innocent victims that these two doofuses
Yeah.
caused.
In their wake.
Mm.
I love the coroner in this movie.
Always be eating.
Vic Polizzo, and this is not the first time he's played a coroner in a movie either, which is funny. Like he has played coroners, and I don't know if he always eats in every movie.
An eaten coroner. If you need an eaten coroner,
Yeah.
well, I got the guy for you.
Because that's that classic joke, and it makes you wonder too. Like in 1986, was that such a was that already like a running gag in movies, or is that something that kind of originated with this?
Yeah, I need to know. I need to know when the first eating coroner happened.
Yeah, who was the first eating coroner in a movie?
And it has to be it has to be like a sandwich or something sloppy.
It always has to be a sandwich. Yeah. And they always have to set it on the body or next to the body, or it's mixed in with the organs they've taken out or tools they're using.
Yeah, there can't be any gloves involved or washing of hands.
Right.
They just have to be very irresponsible with their bodies and their food.
We could probably do a whole month of nothing but movies with eating coroners in them.
Tom Atkins refers to the dead body prank as collegiate tomfoolery.
I love that line.
I just thought that was adorable.
He also calls them Spanky and Alfalfa.
Yep.
So he's got like kind of this fun uncle vibe to begin with them. So he doesn't really think they're necessarily up to anything super bad. Well, I'm tongue tied tonight. I said tooper.
Tooper.
They're not doing anything like super terrible.
Right.
And so he's still like, they got this nice vibe with them, almost like paternal. But his
and also
story's-
he just doesn't care anymore. He's so like beat down by life.
You
He's
learn
ready
that,
to commit
yeah.
suicide.
But I don't think he ever recovered from seeing his ex-girlfriend being slaughtered.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. After poor Alfalfa, as he calls him, gets slugged in the bathroom. JC.
Slugged.
And what's the other character?
Oh God! And he crawls across the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
it looked clean though. That was the cleanest bathroom floor I've seen, I think.
It didn't
In a
look that
movie.
clean.
Not like it was the train spotting bathroom.
I also wrote down that he didn't wipe, but I guess I understand why he didn't wipe because the slugs were coming. And
Yeah, you priorities change pretty quick.
yeah.
Sometimes you have dry turds,
Yeah, sometimes you have
and
dry
you don't have to
turds.
wipe as much.
Sometimes you have dry turds.
Well, I guess we're just assuming that was what was happening here.
Dry,
because
painful turds.
I noticed. But then I was like, Amy, you're being too hard on him.
Yeah.
There are slugs coming.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of slugs, I find small, fast-moving things a lot scarier than big things,
Yeah.
like big monsters. Like I always found the face huggers scarier than the actual xenomorphs.
Oh yeah, the face
Yeah, the
hugger
face
is
huggers.
definitely creepy.
Because they look like bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the way how fast they move and how small they are is harder to get them in your sights than big monsters.
Yeah.
So like I found the slugs, the idea of them, so scary.
Yeah, the whole and you're not only getting the slugs, you're getting zombies on top of slugs, and it's
Yeah.
so much like how much more horror can you pile on?
But friend who didn't wipe, he figures something out. He figures out that fire will kill them.
And he lasts long enough to make a tape recording for
His friend,
his buddy.
which was very sweet. He's like, I know I'm
Yeah.
dying, and basically fire kills him. Have at it.
I like the
Yeah,
choice to
he-
make his voice all creepy too.
Yeah. And I like how he's describing his symptoms and everything. Like I have no pulse and things like that.
He's becoming
it
a
was,
zombie.
Yeah, it was nice that he left that behind to help make up for the destruction that he caused.
There you go. There was some attempt at righting the wrong.
Yeah,
and he killed himself too, like because he knew he went to the. It reminded me of that scene from Return of the Living Dead, actually.
yeah, with
where
James
they
Karen
both
climbs into the incinerator.
Mhm.
Yeah, he does the right thing, and then just when you think you're getting all you can handle with these fresh zombies popping up everywhere, Alfalfa is visiting the detective, and the detective comes clean about his shit, which is pretty crazy. Which is that he hunted down the serial killer, chopped him up into, I guess not into pieces because he comes back in one piece,
Killed him.
kills him, and buries him under the what is now the house mother's cottage at the sorority house. And he pops up like an EC creature, zombie, all rotten and dry.
Yeah, it's good practical effects with all the zombified.
Yeah.
There's a cat at one point, and all the zombies are really well done.
Yeah, and they have a lot of personality. It's Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, and this is before I think they founded K&B. I'm not sure about that though. They worked on it and also played zombies. If you don't know who they are, you probably know who they are if you're listening to this show.
Come on.
Well, and I like how these slug zombies don't discriminate between fresh bodies and old bodies.
No,
They just want a body.
just want a body.
Looking for a body.
A whole busload of frat boys.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
Drunk frat bros.
They swerve to miss the dog,
Yep.
and the dog is already got a slug in it. And then the dog goes into the bus and spreads to all the effing frat boys.
Yep.
What
So
a-
many effing frat boys.
What a big scene.
Yeah.
Like they've got a turned over
That was
bus.
great.
And all these guys, I love they're all dressed for prom. It's such a great
Or whatever. it is.
juxtaposition
Dance.
to the slug zombie thing that they're all dressed in their powdered blue tuxedos with carnations, but they're zombies. And they're like creepy, staggering, slow moving zombies. It's got style. I love it. I said that before.
It's got gratuitous boobies.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I missed that from the 80s.
Yeah.
It's just funny that they feel, you could tell sometimes when it was like a decision that was like, they're like, we just got to put boobs in here.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
They're shoehorned in. But
Yeah.
hey, you got to have them. You got to have them.
Ticking in box.
Dick Miller cameo.
Oh yeah, as the armorer at the police station.
Mm-hmm. He's the one who's got the fire. What am I thinking of? Flamethrower.
Flamethrower.
Fire thrower is what I was going to say. Because that's what it's called.
I love their banter and exchange because he clearly knows the detective, and he's like, "This is a tricky one. Once the pilot light goes out, which is some foreshadowing too, so that you're set up for the suspense of it maybe not working." But like, it's such a fun thing. And then I felt so bad for poor Dick Miller when he gets that shotgun pointed at him.
You know, Tommy Atz didn't want to have to do it.
Yeah,
But he's like, I need that flamethrower.
and you feel like
I gotta go kill some zombies.
it was a pant filling moment, for him, for Dick Miller's character.
Pence filling.
Because he's so off the deep end. Like the detective, it reminds me so much of. Well, it's funny because the connection to Lethal Weapon, Fred Decker has he either helped with the screenplay for that or something. I'm not sure exactly his connection, but it's that idea of the loose cannon police officer who has lost so much, they have nothing left to lose, and the only reason they go on every day is because there's another case that they have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And there's this fucking great moment where he has the gas on too near the third
oven
act.
open.
Yeah.
Gas on, and he gets the call.
And you don't know from your perspective until the end of the scene when he gets up.
And he goes and closes the oven.
Yeah. He's just playing with his lighter.
Yeah.
Like, that was really well done.
Yeah.
For
Such a very
funny.
dark for a silly movie. But then the 80s they were good at that.
Yeah. Gallows humor.
Yeah. Yeah, so then they start to fucking torch some goddamn slugs.
It's a pretty rewarding scene. Like there's like a little buzz around her, that Jill Whitlow being like an early, like tough woman in a horror sci-fi movie because she had the flamethrower scenes in this.
I don't know. I never got that feeling from her.
Well, I think
she
it was just a big deal.
Even like, it was just the way. I guess for the character, but the actress, it was like Amy's like,
yeah.
And then they try to make her a badass all of a sudden, and I'm like, it's not working.
That was also like super early. Like you didn't really see that in movies either, so it was kind of novel.
What, a flamethrower or a woman?
A woman, like, I mean, Alien was like
woman.
Before Alien, I can't think of any action movies with a woman as the lead. Or as any type.
There were plenty of them in the 70s.
Yeah, it's like I feel like.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. Blaxploitation movies, though,
and all
right?
like
Another
horror movies kind of like
movies.
have a final girl, and they're always kind of badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking more just a gun-toting, like traditional, blast them in the
Terminator?
face.
Yeah, I think you're thinking
character.
of just because that she has like a flamethrower, it doesn't automatically make you a badass, in my opinion.
No, it didn't work.
No, I mean the perception though of why people are into the imagery of her, because like you know,
it's good to see a woman getting to throw flames.
Yeah, because I mean, I know you said, Andy, you don't see a lot of stuff, but like I've seen whenever this movie, like the branded stuff, a lot of it's her with that flamethrower, or her and Jason Lively together with him in the shotgun. Like people kind of hung on to that image.
Well, no, it's pretty iconic.
Yeah, because that's the movie poster.
Yeah.
But what I mean is people still buy, like it sells T-shirts. It's something that like has, again, like
You're not going to convince me this is beyond a second tier.
I'm not trying to
You can
sell you.
try.
I'm just telling you the facts.
You can try.
That this is like
What do you
when
get,
Fright
stock
Rags
in
has
Night of the
like
Creeps?
a Night of the Creeps collection. You know what I mean? Like there's shirts out there. Like this has a bigger following than you might imagine. And that character is
But are
kind
there
of big
socks?
to certain viewers. Not me. I'm not like hooked on Cynthia Cronenberg as a major character in horror or anything.
Amy should be worried. Like he's gonna order some stuff on Amazon. Like, hey, Amy, can you put this on for
It's going
me?
to be a bunch
need
of
six-
Night of
it's
the
gonna
Creeps
be
shit.
It's gonna be a white prom
$600.
dress. It's gonna be a white prom dress and a flamethrower.
It'd make a great cake topper for a wedding, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The
if
two of
you're
them
a
dressed
big
up.
horror fan.
Yeah, we could sell those.
Yeah.
We're just gonna start a little side hustle where we make horror cake toppers.
I bet you somebody else is doing that right now on
I'm sure.
Etsy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who says it's Miller time?
Detective Tom Atkins.
Was everybody getting a pun in before they were like,
It was a lot. Most of the time, it was him with
Yeah.
"frill me" and all the smart aleck
it's
remarks.
Miller
and
time?
I love that. He has like a fucking cigarette clenched in his teeth. He's even relishing telling the girls their dates are dead. This character has no fucking soul left, hardly.
No, he thinks that's funny, I think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he does have a soft side. He like actually did try to save them.
He's a heroic character.
Yeah, at the end, he sacrifices
But
himself.
as far as being like the most sardonic, like sarcastic and disconnected from the goodwill of humanity character, except for when he smelled the rose.
He did stop to smell the roses.
And smiled even.
Yeah. So he wasn't completely all the way gone.
Yeah.
So speaking of, here's the second question this movie posed to me with its plot. Why was it such a big deal for the slugs to get at the brains that they were storing in the basement of the sorority house?
Because brains.
Is that simply it? Because we connect brains with zombies?
Well, they eat brains.
Yeah,
they established that, and they also lay eggs in brains.
Okay, I forgot that part.
Yeah. So there you go. That ties.
When I was watching it, that didn't occur to me. So maybe they didn't say it.
There's a lot going on in this movie. Again, it is
too much for my feeble.
There's a lot
little
of plot
brain.
holes because if they want brains, then how did they reanimate the?
There's nothing to reanimate.
The axe killer.
Well, you're saying like because his brain was already gone.
It would have been.
I mean, I don't know science.
Yeah,
but how long when did the brain have dried up by that point?
Right, I agree with you. Like the science of Night of the Creeps is not sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 20 some odd years. Would the brain still be enough?
It's not sound.
And they were drawn to the basement where they're storing the school project brains, and they're like in formaldehyde, I assume, or something.
Yeah.
And preserved. So why would there be any material for these slugs to feast on, even because these brains aren't attached to anything?
It's like raisins.
It's just matter.
It's like,
but anyway,
it's raisins for slugs.
we're nitpicking, but
so there's.
I also thought all these things, Amy.
Yeah, I was just like, what?
This movie is leaves you with a lot of questions.
There's you guys know a rat king. Well, then this is a slug king. There's a shit ton of slugs down there in the basement.
It's so gross looking,
and they're writhing.
Yeah, I like when they all kind of reach
over
out
each other,
where it feels like they're reaching to them when they're about to leap. That was a neat effect.
I hate that they can fly, like jump and glide a bit,
and they have good aim. They go right in your mouth.
Slide over things. Ugh.
But I do love that scene at the end where Tom Atkins is at the slug pile, and he has his duct tape over his mouth.
Yeah,
to protect himself from being slugged.
You know what I told Amy? They missed the real opportunity. Like when he pulled the duct tape off, it should have tore his mustache off. And then the end of the movie went without it.
I feel like that's beating up that character a little too much.
Be like Airplane.
Just tore it out. Bleeding. Just blood trickling.
Be like, how important are laughs to you?
Ow. Shows you how much I was paying attention at the time, because I remember saying to Freddy, why does he have duct tape over his mouth?
Because that's where the fucking slugs go in.
I'm a fucking moron. I swear to God, I knew that.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Almost the second it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh, you dum-dum.
You gotta stop smoking marijuana.
And he was like, no.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he decides to sacrifice himself. He douses everything with gas. Okay, gas just makes things burn. It does not make things just explode without.
No, it does, because the fumes from
there were fumes.
Whenever you pour gasoline, there's some fumes.
Yeah, gasoline. There's fumes, and those are
they're explosive.
So you think that because they were in the basement,
enough fumes
can build up.
Yeah.
Okay, that I can believe.
Yeah. But the size of the gas explosion, Amy, we watched so many episodes of Mythbusters. You did not retain anything.
I didn't.
It's unreal.
I know. Sorry, just the things that occur to me.
And I'm sure that it also probably exploded the gas line that the house had. Maybe.
Okay, that I can also buy. All right,
it could be that.
I'll give you that.
Maybe Tom Atkins farted.
Maybe.
right when he lit it.
Do you think that's enough?
He could have done that. I saw a woman supposedly fire something out of her butt at a balloon and pop it on Instagram.
What was she firing?
I couldn't tell, but there was a muzzle flare though. Like she was facing the camera and leaned over, and a guy had a balloon behind her.
What page are you following? My God,
I don't know. The algorithm gave it to me, and she farted a muzzle flare out, and the balloon popped. It was magic.
What is your algorithm?
I don't know. It's mostly animals like puppies and unlikely friendships, but also weird AI stuff.
So, you think the movie is ended. He's sacrificed himself to save the world. He's killed all the slugs. Our two main characters are making out in front of the fire. Everybody's happy. Except it didn't really work, did it?
Because this crispy critter ass comes shuffling
Tom
out,
Atkins comes shuffling,
smoking.
shambling, and then out pops from his brain some slugs.
Well, he hits the ground pretty hard. Your head would pop open and slugs will come out too if you were on fire and hit your head on the ground that hard.
I don't have any slugs.
Well, let's Mythbuster that and see what happens.
I have no slugs in my brain. I am not RFK.
I love that the slugs. This is again a similarity with Return of the Living Dead.
Those were worms, Amy. They weren't slugs.
Sorry. They were bringing worms.
The stuff where they hit the cemetery reminded me of Return of the Living Dead too, Andy.
Yeah.
Like it was because the first one ends with the rain. The first Return of the Living Dead with the rain trickling down. But again, are they just getting those brain raisins from all those bodies? Because the insinuation is you're going to have a bunch of like
zombies. But Andy really brought up a good point. And I think the biggest plot hole that has been brought to the table, brain raisins.
Brain raisins.
You can't use a raisined up brain.
I mean,
well, do they? When you're buried, don't they take your brain out?
I don't know.
No.
I think everything goes back in before they bury it.
Unless your brain is being studied, it gets left in your skull.
Like even organs, and when you're buried, those are all in there.
Yeah, everything should all be in there. The only reason they wouldn't be in there is if somebody stole them.
There you go.
Is from what I understand.
Mystery of the missing brain solved.
Done and done.
Yeah. Any more technicians out there can give us some insight?
As far as I'm aware, if nobody has any reason to hold on to your shit.
Yeah.
I feel like they
You're
talked
buried
about
with
all this in that book, Stiff.
Which I did read, but that's been a long time.
I read it too. I feel like they put your stuff in a bag and then put the bag inside. Like giblets.
That's your personal effects.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. So this movie had to be a big influence on Slither, right?
You would think, but James Gunn claims that he hadn't seen it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's actually a little controversy around that. At the end, when they show the overhead of the cemetery and the matte painting, which I love the way they had that cemetery. Very dramatic, and the spaceship coming overhead with the spotlight. That spaceship was used on Deep Space Nine.
So cool.
What?
Star Trek reference. Sorry, Andy.
Had to put it in there. And then they tried to make they didn't try to make a sequel. There was a movie made called Zombie Town.
Oh.
That tried to market itself as a sequel to this movie.
What you take me to?
Is it streamable?
It's from 2007. It's supposed to be really terrible. I'm not interested in it, but if you
you had to say it was terrible. Now I want to see it.
And did you ever figure out why the aliens, why that one alien shot the slugs at Earth in the first place?
No, they didn't really say.
There is no explanation for what was going on between the
because the
aliens.
one alien has this like canister, and he's running from two other aliens
that are shooting
at him.
You think he was just
and
stealing
he puts it? I don't. Maybe I don't know if he was stealing it or he was trying to protect people from it or something.
We need prequel.
It was just very vague. I mean, again, I don't need to know all the reasons why, but like it would be nice to know.
One.
Disney Plus is going to do an 8-episode miniseries that's just about the little naked aliens.
Oh God, hope they improve on the costumes.
It's going to answer all your
That
questions.
would be nice.
Yeah.
All right.
But it was a decent enough movie for me.
It's
I wish I
cute.
loved it as much as Freddy.
Well, it's impossible. I was 8 years old when I saw it, so
Yeah.
You got to take an 8-year-old's opinion because you never really. I don't think it ever really changes when you love a movie as a kid. Like you're like,
It's true.
It's forever perfect. All right, so the algorithm, man. Unless anybody has anything else to say about Night of the Creeps, I take that as a no.
No, sir. Thank you for your time. The algorithm.
I can go first. Shining Vale season 2. I don't know if anybody else is watching that with Courtney Cox and Greg Kinnear.
What's it about?
It's about a writer who she moves into a new house with her family, and either she is losing her mind or the house is haunted. And it's really it's so much more than that because they borrow. The first season is all kind of like a Kubrick and Stephen King like Shining nod. And then there's little bits from, it's a lot like what Ryan Murphy does, except instead of it being complete like insanity where it feels like they're making it up every week, it feels like they kind of know where they're going with it. So I prefer it to like American Horror Story.
Is it straight up horror or is it kind of like a comedy?
Comedy. Yeah. Yeah. But the horror is not pulling much in the punches department. So when it's scary, it can be pretty scary. I'm just going to warn y'all, you might get scared.
Scared?
And then season 5 of The Foods That Build America is out. So you know I've been spending some time with that.
There was an ice cream episode. I was watching him
specifically
just break down until eventually he's like, I need ice cream right now.
It was specifically about the invention of mix-ins for ice cream, like putting ice cream together with other shit. That was
like
a whole
blizzards
hour
and
television.
stuff, or like
both
McFlurries.
It started with a guy who invented cookies and cream.
God bless that man.
And then Ben and Jerry's kind of stole that idea and started their own company. But this guy was like had a small like ice cream. Anyways, I love that show. I always learned so much.
It's so interesting that it was kind of groundbreaking for the ice cream industry to put stuff.
Yeah, you
ice
take
cream.
it for granted. You know, before like that, it was just like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Ain't that some shit? And we watched Roy Jr.'s new special, Lonely Flowers, which was also very, very good.
It's true.
Laughed my ass off.
I co-sign.
What about you, Amy? You got anything?
I don't know. What have I been watching?
Oh, we watched It, The Terror from Beyond Space, but I think you fell
watched
asleep.
that. I did not. Let's go over all the things Amy's fallen asleep during. I have doubled my vitamin D supplementation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. Haha. Hee hee.
Oh,
Wink, wink.
we watched Hellraiser
Nudge,
2.
nudge. Well, hold on
The
a damn
Hellraiser.
second.
Oh, did you watch? Did you go home and watch it?
No.
We
Or are you
did-
talking about the
What?
theater?
No, I'm talking about the sequel. We watched it
Oh,
at home.
No, we didn't.
You fell asleep for that too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I thought you were awake
let
for that.
me discuss. So now I'm on 4,000 whatevers of vitamin D. So maybe this is going to help me stay awake. We're trying something. Anyway, but what I did do and what I can talk about, and it's literally all I can talk about. So Andy, if you were planning on talking about it, I am sorry, was going to see Hellraiser in the theater.
We hadn't talked about that yet.
Yeah. It's one of those special events. What is it?
Fathom.
Fathom.
And it really did come from the algorithm because Facebook is how I found out about it.
Yep. They had a remaster of Hellraiser playing in the local theater, so we had to go, of course. And it was incredible.
It was cool.
It reminded me, it's been so long since I've seen that first one. I had forgotten a few things, but still so good. Julia remains such a stone cold bitch. Like,
it's just interesting watching it because just looking at her, and I was like, "Is this the woman that all these guys are falling over?"
It's the haircut.
it's all the clip-on
and
earrings,
the
Yeah, she just
makeup.
looks so. She just looks so severe.
Yeah.
all the silk blouses.
Yeah,
They
They're
softened her look so much in the sequel.
yeah. It's the hair, I think, and the lack of neon eyeshadow.
Yeah.
in part two.
It looked like whoever did David Bowie's makeup and wardrobe like dressed her in the first
Yeah.
one. Like when he was doing his drag persona. I mean,
Yeah, I was like, just watching it again. It's a highly flawed movie, but I feel most of the goodwill from this like the movie in the series is from the Cenobites as opposed to the actual movie making.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
They're absurd. Like the second one, and I'm sorry you fell asleep, Amy.
All I do is fall asleep during stuff.
That's got some good gross moments in it. It's like grosser than gross.
They really amped up the gore and horror in part 2.
That doctor
because
character.
I feel like they saw like how people reacted to the Cenobites, and they was like, we need more of that. And like, yeah, that's what we watch the Hellraiser series for.
Yeah, I missed I figured they didn't want to do the same thing again with Julia in the sequel and have her be as slimy and skeletal as Frank was.
Yeah.
They kind of skipped that part and she goes straight to the like more like Grey's Anatomy vivisection.
Yeah, just straight up skinned.
Yeah.
As opposed to like
Straight up.
regenerating.
Straight up
Was that-
scanned.
Besides Hellraiser, Amy, anything fresh and exciting come down your pipeline?
We did start the second season finally. We started of Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Although did fall asleep a little bit during the last episode, so I don't really know what the fuck happened.
It was a legal
But
drama episode.
I like those. I like Star Trek
I do
legal
too.
drama episodes.
I'm just saying that, like, if you were going to fall asleep during any kind of Star Trek episode, that one
It
was
was gonna be
asking
that
for
one.
it. Yeah.
But I like when they get all procedural on
Yeah,
us.
I do too.
Strange New Worlds is so great. It feels like old school Star Trek. A lot of the new stuff has been so different than what you're used to if you were somebody who watched all the, old Star Trek.
Different good or different bad?
It's to mixed results.
Mm-hmm.
Different good for Picard, different somewhat not great for Discovery. But then there's, different awesome for Lower Decks. So,
Did we
I don't
finish
know.
Discovery?
no, we did not.
Okay, we need to do that.
Yeah,
So
we do. But no, Strange New Worlds is awesome. It's beautiful.
yeah,
Like the digital backgrounds and
I love that they use the real the
alien
new
planets
thing.
they come up with. They're so cool.
Do you remember what that was called? They talked about it, I think, at Star Trek at the convention. Was like they have the giant room where it's not green
It's
screen.
all screens.
Yeah, but so they walk. They see the
Not
stuff.
green screen.
Right.
They're actual screens. So the actors can see what they're in front of. So they can interact with it in some ways.
It does help.
Yeah.
I think it makes a difference for sure.
Yeah. So Strange New Worlds. Been watching it. Thank you for your time. This has been my book report.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
watched, finally watched Strange Darling.
Oh
that?
yeah, it's in our queue.
Yeah, it's that movie that everybody's been talking about for months, and I've been waiting for it to come to streaming.
This is the first time I've
But-
heard it.
But like, I was like, it's never going to come to streaming. So I was like, I finally actually paid a couple bucks to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I can't really talk about it without spoiling it. But yeah, I liked it. I think the best part of the movie was the performances from the lead actors. I think her name is Willa Fitzgerald. I'm not really familiar with this actress, but she was really good. And Kyle Garner is really good too.
Oh, I love him.
What do I know
Yeah,
him from?
You've seen him in a lot of stuff.
So many horror movies, and plus he was
He was in the remake of Friday the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
and he was one of the Casablancas brothers.
Yeah.
And
Beaver.
Veronica Mars.
Beaver.
He was Beaver.
I love
Yeah,
him.
he has
I
a really good horror cred. Like every time I see him pop up, I feel like it's gonna be a sign of quality.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the new Noah Segan for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you see like an actor pop up, you're like, oh, it's gonna be good, or you know that he's gonna have a really good performance in it.
He's super solid.
Yeah, and for the first time, it's like I found myself attracted to him. He
Yeah.
never really did anything for me before, but in this movie, I was like, damn,
They made him sexy.
I see you, Kyle.
Oh my.
But yeah, the movie, like I said, it's can't really talk about without spoiling it because there's some twists and turns. But I don't want to say like I'm one of those like movie snobs, but like I don't know if the intention was it to be a big twist, but to me it was very obvious where it was going.
Yeah.
I figured out the twist within the first couple minutes. I'm not saying I'm like, so smart or anything, but
It's true. He's not so smart.
yeah, I'm a dummy.
I'm just kidding. He's very smart.
And I don't know if like the movie was intended to make a big like reveal,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't take me out of it. But I was like, I said to me, I see what you're doing. I know what's up. But it was very well made. I love the look of it because during the credits in the beginning, like where they say that the titles and everything, it said filmed in 35 millimeter. So it's gonna look good, but at the same time, I kind of roll my eyes at it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you feel it now. Like, did you get to that point now where you realize that it took me forever to really start seeing the difference. Like I used to be like, digital's fine.
Yeah,
But,
there is a big difference in the look of it because it looked gorgeous, and I don't think they could achieve that with like digital or anything. But to display it on like the title and in the beginning, I was like, oh, whatever. And like again, like it's like that's what the movie's going for. Like is going for artsy fartsy.
Yeah. Did it say proudly shot in?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it said, but like it did make a big point of it that it was shot in 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
And it goes along with kind of the pretension of the movie. Like there were times where it was kind of going, I thought, in my opinion at least, that it was trying to be too cool and too edgy and like too many tricks.
Brandon, didn't he say this was his favorite one of the year?
Yeah. Like he really liked it. And to a certain extent, I really agree. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
But just personal taste, like it felt like it was a little trying too hard.
Yeah.
My favorite parts when it was the quieter moments in the movie where it was like more about the character stuff, but they were just, I mean, the parts where they're trying to be cool and edgy, it does lend some character to the movie, but I like the more quieter parts, like like especially this part in the third act that was like really effective, where the characters are just talking to each other and laying out everything.
Is it scary?
Yeah. To me, it wasn't scary. It's not really a type of movie that is for like to like scare you. It's more of a thriller than anything.
Thrill me movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like Tom Atkins said, thrill me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I recommend it. And actually, I still have a couple, like another day on my rental, so I can, if you want to watch it, I can give you my login stuff.
Well, thank you. Can you log in?
Ooh.
Little Darling?
Ooh.
Is that the name?
Strange Darling?
Strange Darling. That's right. Little Darling.
Little darling.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like the performances are the best part, and I like how there's so many great performances coming out of horror movies lately.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of the younger, it used to be a stigma when we were kids, like for people to do horror movies and sci-fi movies, and I think that's gone. I think acting is completely different now.
It's a great showcase for actors at horror because there's a lot. It's asking a lot of the actors, especially in this movie, especially for the main actress. It asks a lot of her in this movie, and she like really rises to the occasion.
Cool.
It gets intense at certain times.
We should watch it. Amy's afraid of anything that's new.
Yeah, I need it to be old and bad.
Has to have aged.
Them are my rules. Deal with it or don't. It's called a boundary, okay?
Oh.
I mean, I feel she's going to fall asleep anyway, so what's the point?
Seriously, you can put on anything. I will be asleep in moments. It's a real problem. So anyway, yeah.
Start hanging yourself from the ceiling by hooks, like those body mod people, like Strange Land.
Get a friggin' Cenobite to just poke at me with a needle.
I don't know. She'll probably still fall asleep somehow.
I'll figure it out.
All right.
Well, apparently, it kind of puts you in like a relaxed trance-like state.
The movie does?
No,
or the hanging from the ceiling by your nipples.
The hanging from the ceiling stuff.
Oh, by your nipples.
Yeah, some guys it's through the nipple area.
That would probably keep me awake. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys want to wrap it? I think we're running a little long, actually.
Yeah, let's do it. We've heard our voices for long enough.
You got that list of the sweetest babies on earth?
The sweetest babies on earth. This is the list. Beelzebubs, patreon.com/NOTLP. If you want to become one, there's also other things you can do there.
Next week, we're doing Night of the Lepus. It's got bunnies in it. That's right, isn't it, Andy?
Is it Lepus or Lepus? How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Lepus. I mean, the movie title, I've always heard Night of the Lepus, but it could be...
The puss.
Could just be dumb people.
The puss.
The puss.
Lepus.
Beelzebub. So that list is Matt, Branan, and Emily. Jeffel.
Oh, Branan had a birthday recently.
Happy birthday, Branan!
Happy belated birthday, Brandon.
Jeffel, Iona Goodwin.
I want a great one.
Dr. Brian, Old Dirty Billsterd, Bill Fahrner, Blayne Yogurt, Jordash Jeans. Don't forget to listen to Zoned Out, Twilight Zone podcast with Jordash Jeans and Freddy. Monica, Jeremy, Cassie, and Gamora.
Oh, Cassie's mom had a birthday recently, so happy birthday, Cassie's mom.
Happy birthday,
birthday to Cassie's mom.
Ernest.
Hey, Ernie.
Dave and Paul.
You guys are the best.
All those beautiful babies are beautiful babies. That's all I got to say about that.
You give my life direction.
Bye.
Frankenstein was wondering if he should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead. And Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the streets of London on four legs, while high above him Ellen Ripley finds some funny eggs. And Freddy laughs at Nancy in her nightmares as she begs to have just one